Hey everybody, Dan and Ethan here, coming at you live. Ethan's just finishing up his breakfast over here. Don't worry about him. I was hopping on here, I was listening to a podcast the other day and I started thinking about confidence and your thoughts and actions and all this stuff that's surrounded around which we all can relate to in real estate world or just in life in general, right? I'm gonna screen share with you guys here so I can kind of get into a little bit more about what I'm talking about. So here is the graph that I came up with. It was kind of a combination. I changed this graph a few times. Actually, this is different than even the graph we talked about this morning earlier, because I kind of rethought through it. And I got this from a podcast that I was listening to. And think about this: everything comes from your thoughts. So if we have a something that we're not necessarily looking forward to doing, or we have something that scares us, or something that's kind of making us worried, whatever, everything comes from our thoughts, right? So the only way to change your circumstances is to somehow change your thoughts, which causes an action. So your thoughts can cause an action. So let's say, for example, in our world, it is lead generation or following up with a customer, right? Maybe that's a pretty standard example in our world of real estate, is making a sales call or following up with somebody that we haven't talked to in a long time, and we're nervous about it, right? Like we're like, oh, I don't want to, I'm worried about what this person is going to think when I call them, or I don't know what to say, or what if they say this, or we start overthinking that process. Now that's just your thoughts, right? You're making up your own story in your own head about why this might not go well. And when the reality is there's a 99% chance when you call that person, it's going to go just fine. That all those random stories you're telling in your head aren't going to really happen. Still, how can you change your thoughts? You just start thinking good, positive things, like an affirmation in your head. For example, one thing that I tell myself is that people are at home and they want to talk to me, right? They want to talk to me when I call them. Do you have anything that pops into your head that you think of when you're making sales calls?
Yeah, I think the main thing is a lot of the times you're scared because it's like you said, the what ifs with like what if they're angry at me, whatever. And I guess you learn by doing it more and more that 90% of the time it's not going to be that. Um and if it is, it lasts 30 seconds and you move on. So that's kind of what I have in the back of my head, is that you know 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a friendly person. And, if they're interested, if they're not, it's going to be a great call. But if it's someone bad, we're going to move on and forget. So that's kind of what I keep in the back of my head.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Ethan was door knocking a few weeks ago, right? And how it's freaking scary door knocking, right? Like, I'm 5 years in the business and I've door knocked hundreds of houses. I've cold called thousands of people, um, sold hundreds of homes, and it still freaks me out to get out of my car and knock on somebody's door for the first time and on a stranger's door,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yep.
And so it never gets necessarily easy, right? However, you have to think people want to talk to me, or it's my duty to talk to these people. So my thoughts create an action. Enough action creates results. As a result, that increases your confidence, right? So you just have this synergistic loop. When you increase your confidence, your thoughts become easier. You're thinking more positive thinking, which creates more action, which creates more results, which increases your confidence. And if you do it long enough, it's like a flywheel, it gets faster and faster and
Yep.
faster and faster over time. And now you have it's like in my opinion, it's like the success loop, right? You start doing things for long enough and you have a habit around it consistently over time. Now you have your successful loop of, okay, this is what I've been doing for so long. I'm good at it. People like to talk to me. You have these positive thoughts. It creates results. Now this can go happen the very opposite way too, right? Like, for example, you might be thinking negative thoughts. You might have a bad body image, and you think your thought maybe you have a bad body image. You have a lack of confidence or lack of good thoughts around your body image. So you think, what's the point of me starting to work out today? I'm just going to continue to do the things I've done for so long because it's simple and it makes me feel comfortable. Like, for example, eating junk food is a good example, right? Not working out and eating junk food. Your thoughts are, I have low confidence. Why take today to, I can always do it tomorrow, which causes inaction, or it causes you an action to grab for the junk food more often, which creates negative results, which reinforces your negative confidence in yourself, which reinforces your thoughts, which reinforce the lack of action or the action of grabbing more junk food, which creates worse results. And you just have this synergistic bad loop of bad habits. And so it's a think different synergistic loop. So you can turn that thought around and say, no, I am a healthy person. I'm going to start changing my thoughts. I'm going to start changing my thoughts around my health today. And you really have to change your identity. Like anytime you start something new, you almost have to change your identity, which is a lead domino in order to create new thoughts and cause action. Like, for example, if you want to be an Ethan of the world, you want to be an athlete, right? Okay, today what do I need to do? What do I need to think if I'm an athlete? What does an athlete do? What kind of action does an athlete take? And then you start thinking, what does an athlete think in order to take the action? An athlete thinks, I do this whether I'm tired or not. And then you take that action, and then it creates results and then increases confidence. And then you just continue to work on that for a long period of time.
Yeah. And I think and we've talked about this before, the process in this cycle, when you go from your thoughts to causing action, that right there is the hardest part, right? And like you said, it's kind of like a flywheel. It picks up and it goes faster and faster. Once you get past this causing action stage and you get into creating results and increasing your confidence, it's like a landslide of progress. And I don't think a whole lot of people realize that. And I guess a lot of people have probably heard it, like the hardest part of something is starting it. So,
Yep.
and this shows it for sure. That, and it's especially with real estate, it's not an easy profession whatsoever. And the hardest part it really is just starting it and getting into good habits and then getting into that creating results phase, increasing confidence. And like Dan said, it just starts a flywheel of growth. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And one thing we talked about this morning, Ethan, is surrounding yourself with other people who are doing the same thing, right?
Yeah.
If you're trying to think like an athlete or a professional real estate agent, you can't be around people who are thinking lack all the time, right? You can't be around people who are thinking or who are eating unhealthy, who are underachievers at work. Like, it just doesn't work that way. You can't, or maybe it does, but it's going to be a very temporary success rate for you to get up to that level. You got to be surrounding yourself with people who are also killers. They want to get out there and win as well, which is a missing ingredient on this, I guess the success wheel, whatever you want to call it. Thoughts there?
Yeah, I think just surrounding yourself with people who are good people, same beliefs as you, maybe people who want to start the same journey as you, so you can kind of feed off each other and support each other. I think all that just supports this cycle even more, especially the later stages after you kind of have started your journey. So I honestly think like that just speeds up your progress.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 or 3x. So yeah. That's
I agree.
That's super important.
Cool. Hopefully you guys get some value from this and reach out if you ever want to chat about it.
Peace.
Peace out.